You're listening to Author Conversations, the Stenhouse Publishers podcast. If you've ever been at a loss for what to say and do when confronted with a child who struggles with reading, you'll be interested in Pat Johnson and Katie Keier's newest book, Catching Readers Before They Fall. In today's podcast, Pat and Katie tell us about what they hope teachers will take away from their book. Pat speaks first.
We've been talking about what teachers will come away with after reading our book that will help them with their struggling readers. And one thing I was thinking about is teachers are often overwhelmed with their struggling readers. They know the child's having problems, and it just seems like everything is a struggle for that child. The teacher is thinking, he can't do this, he can't do that, he doesn't understand the vocabulary, and they get very frustrated with the amount of what needs to be done. And I think this book will help them sort that out a bit. Because of the understanding of reading process that they'll gain from the text, they'll be able to see each child through a reading process lens. And they'll be able to say, all right, here's a child. He sounds out every word when he gets stuck. I need to help him with other word-solving strategies. Or another child, well, he's not self-monitoring himself. I know how to work on that now. Or perhaps learning how to question might help this child keep his mind on the text. I know how to teach for that now. So I think the teachers will learn how to focus in on what a specific child needs. That's certainly beneficial for children, and the teacher can feel like he or she is accomplishing something with a struggling reader instead of feeling overwhelmed all the time.
For example, one of our chapters specifically addresses the needs of a beginning teacher working with readers who are really struggling with those earliest strategies, the ones that you're using in those beginning pattern texts. We give some great examples of how to teach for directionality, one-to-one matching, how to check and confirm, and other very beginning reading strategies, and examples of things teachers can use in their classroom right away. We go beyond the basic letter and sound knowledge that some people think is where the teaching of reading starts to make sure we include all the other beginning reading strategies. Reading is making meaning, and we want children to realize this from the very beginning. This chapter is one piece that we feel really sets our book apart from other books on emergent literacy.
We also spent another chapter sorting out something that we were tempted to call the new great debate, but we didn't. It was about strategy teaching. Some teachers are asking, can you really teach a strategy? If reading process is supposed to work in an integrated way, then how can you pull out one strategy at a time? And who is all this strategy instruction for? Right now, there's a bit of controversy in the literacy world. Some experts are telling us to make each strategy visible to the students and spend a decent amount of time on each strategy. But on the opposite side of the coin, some other literacy experts are saying, hold on, some of that teaching is just so heavy-handed, and the kids land up doing strategies for strategy's sake. We spend a whole chapter sorting through ideas from both ends of the spectrum, and we try to come up with a happy middle.
Another chapter in our book addresses the common questions and answers that parents often ask teachers. We think we've gone beyond the general Q&As that are commonly found in books and collected a variety of real-world questions that either ourselves or our colleagues have been asked. And we not only answer the questions in an easily understood manner with language that the teachers can use to communicate with parents without all the educationese in our field, but we've also gone further and included an additional part to each question that explains the answer deeper for teachers and refers them back to sections in the book that specifically answer those questions further. For example, we answer questions such as, it seems like my child just memorizes the books he brings home. Last night, he even told me he could read it with his eyes closed. Is that okay? And what level is my child reading on? Is she in the high, middle, or low reading group? And what are you doing to help my child pass the state tests? Another example is, I know my child is struggling. Should I take her to one of those learning centers or buy one of those kits to teach her how to read? We answer 16 questions such as these in a way that we think will truly help teachers and parents.
Learning about reading process is the thread that holds our book together. We start our book listing our beliefs, and one belief was that we know that all teachers can build on their knowledge of reading process, and that it's best done in 3 ways. Listening to kids read, talking with colleagues, and observing your own reading process. And we do examples of all that in the book. For listening to kids read, we give lots of examples of what a struggling reader does or doesn't do, and what we said and did in each example. With colleagues, we give different things that we've talked about at team meetings or groups of teachers to get them thinking about their language as they teach for strategies. And observing on your own, that's always a good idea. We give a few examples of how to observe your own reading process, so in turn you can relate that and possibly use it in your own teaching.
Catching Readers Before They Fall, along with an online study guide, is now available from www.stenhouse.com and your local Stenhouse distributor. Thanks for listening.